Hello and welcome to the UCA Students' Union 2013 election results.
Woo!
Yeah! The results have been checked, verified and signed for by the returning officer from the National Union of Students. We will start with the election for NUS delegates. The number of valid ballots received was 1,046. The number of positions to fill was 2, and the quota for this election was 349 votes. Ed Hewison totalled 249 votes, Jane Horswell totalled 330 votes, and Steve Martin totalled 390 votes, with Ron totalling 78. At this stage, Steve Martin had received quota and is therefore duly elected. We then transferred second preferences from Ron and Steve Martin. When added to first stage votes, Ed Hewison totalled 461 votes, Jane Horswell totalled 523 votes, and Ron 28. Jane Horswell had received quota and is therefore duly elected. We move on to Canterbury. Women's officer, Terea Cardozo, running uncontested, is elected Canterbury Women's Officer. Campus officer. Number of valid ballots was 122. The quota therefore is 61. Anthony Gray totalled 118 votes. Ron totalled 4. Therefore, Anthony Gray is duly elected 2013-14 Canterbury Campus Officer. The Rochester Campus. The Student Experience Officer, Annabelle Giroux-Tell, running uncontested, is elected Rochester Student Experience Officer. LGBT Officer. Lucy Nakak, running uncontested, is elected Rochester LGBT Officer. Students with Disabilities Officer. Joanna Swinney, running uncontested, is elected Rochester Students with Disabilities Officer. Campus Officer. The number of valid ballots received was 339. The quota therefore is 170. Jasmine Grimshaw totalled 325 votes, Ron 25 votes. Therefore, Jasmine Grimshaw is duly elected 2013-14 Rochester Campus Officer. The Epsom Campus. Student Experience Officer, Peter Hopton, running uncontested, is elected Epsom Student Experience Officer. LGBT Officer, Jade McNeish, running uncontested, is elected Epsom LGBT Officer. Clubs and Societies Officer, Chris Kipri, running uncontested, is elected Epsom Clubs and Societies Officer. The International Students Officer, Ridad Kazma, running uncontested, is elected Epsom International Students Officer. Campus Officer. So the number of valid ballots was 199. The quota was 100. Ed Hewison totalled a total number of votes of 95. Ron totalled 104. Reappointations is therefore elected. Therefore, a by-election will be called by UCASU for Epsom Campus Officer. An announcement will be made by the Students' Union on Wednesday the 13th of March with details of this by-election. Maidstone Campus. The Campus Officer. The number of valid ballots was 167. The quota therefore was 84. Natalie Turner totalled 76 votes. David Lewis 91. Ron recorded 0. Therefore, David Lewis is duly elected 2013-14 Maidstone Campus Officer. Farnham Campus. The LGBT Officer, Rhianne Hill, running uncontested, is elected Farnham LGBT Officer. Women's Officer, Layla Damon, running uncontested, is elected Farnham's Women's Officer. Clubs and Societies. This was a contested election. The number of valid ballots was 361. The quota was 181. Alex Kritikos totalled 144 votes. Joel Goldman, 201 votes. Ron recorded 16. Therefore, Joel Goldman is duly elected Farnham Campus Officer. Club Society. The Student Experience Officer. The number of valid ballots was 363. The quota was 91. This is for, there was 3 available positions. Faye Gentile recorded 80 votes. Charlotte Taylor recorded 93. Connor James, 81. Alex Kritikos, 67. And Rachel Gosher, 38, with Ron recording 4. At this stage, Charlotte Taylor had received quota and is therefore duly elected Farnham Student Experience Officer. At this stage, Rachel Gosher was eliminated and the second preferences were redistributed. We also redistributed Ron's second preferences. When added to first stage votes, the totals were Faye Gentile, 113 votes, Connor James, 115 votes, and Alex Kritikos, 123 votes. Ron recorded 3 votes. Therefore, at this stage, Faye Gentile and Ron were eliminated, and therefore Connor James and Alex Kritikos were duly elected Farnham Student Experience Officers. Campus Officer. The number of valid ballots was 370. The quota was 185. Jane Horswell received 134 votes. Joe Traynor, 111 votes, and Sarah Pollard, 123 votes, with Ron receiving 2. At this stage, no candidate had received quota, so the lowest scoring candidates were eliminated. This was Joe Traynor, and reopened nominations with their second preferences redistributed. When added to the first stage votes, the total